Well, hello there! I'm Dr. Chung and welcome to your friendly proctologist. Thank you for joining this community. I'm so glad you're here with all of us, suffering together and wanting to learn about how to take care of our bodies better. And I want to tell you something weird is going to happen to this channel in probably the next 2 days or so. We're going to reach 20,000 subscribers. And that is incredible. It's all thanks to you. I'm so appreciative. I'm so thankful that you guys are getting better, and the feedback that I'm getting from you is amazing. I'm a patient as well, and really the whole thing is so that we can help. Well, I can help you in this channel, but really the internet is about helping each other, and that's what's so amazing about living in this day and age and living in 2022, 2023. So thank you so much again. It's been incredible. I'm going to keep going and continue this mission. It seems that this is something that all of us believe in. All we have a common ground. So the topic for today is, Dr. Chung, I've got bleeding from my bottom end. What do I do? How do I figure this out? And yeah, you're right. I should have had this video like on the very first day. And I'm sorry about that, my goof. But you're right. All my videos prior to this are complete garbage. Just ignore all of it and just pay attention to this video. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I wanted to give a shout out to our sponsor of this channel, which is Pranicura. They've been on board with us for the past year, and the one thing that's excellent about Pranicura is they are signing on to that goal, that mission, to give you really useful and helpful products and information. Any of the products that I sponsor here is something I also use personally and find to be helpful. So I want to give you options out there to try to really get control of whatever you're dealing with. This is a great cream with natural ingredients, so you can use it as many times as you want, as many days as you want in a row, and it's going to give you really great soothing effects. What I like about it is the menthol aspect. That's my favorite part because it distracts me. It soothes me by taking away the itching and taking away the swelling and inflammation feeling that I can get when I get into a flare myself. And so this is my personal jar. It's my second jar, and I'm so thankful that Pranicura has come out with this. I mean, it's really great, and I want to give you some context on how to use this product with the bleeding situation. So let's get on with that right now, okay? Oh, by the way, you can only get Pranicura on their website, and I think it's an excellent thing because they control their quality and they make sure when they ship out a product, it's actually a good and clean and new product. Okay, so I've got my handy list here so I don't get off track, but let's go through it. First thing, a disclaimer I should tell you is that not all bleeding is the same, right? And what I want to focus on is the minor bleeding. You might get a few drops of blood into the toilet. You're going to definitely see some blood on the tissue paper, maybe a streak on the poop. But if you're having blood clots pass out of your bottom end, you are squirting blood out of your bottom end, you are having dark black blood come out of your bottom end, those are the things where you need to be seen by a medical professional, okay? Whether it's the ER, whether it's a specialist like myself, somebody needs to get their eyes and get their story from you to understand and make sure that you're doing okay. So you've just had a bowel movement and you see the blood. So what the heck do you do? Your emotions are riled up. You're scared. You're freaking out. It's like, oh my God, it's what everybody's been talking about. And my worst nightmare is finally here. The blood. Oh no, I must have something terrible going on. And that's actually my first step here is don't let your emotions get carried away. Don't panic, in other words, okay? Panicking is where your heart rate just goes straight through the roof. Your breathing starts to breathe extremely rapidly. You almost maybe pass out and you feel like you're going to a panic attack, okay? Because the thoughts in your head are causing you to go to those deep, dark spaces. Try and calm yourself down at that point. Say you got some help now. You're going to watch this video and you know that there's doctors around you to help you in case you ever have questions, right? So that's the first thing, don't panic. What's another thing? When you go searching online, and I know you already have because that's how you found this video, but they all tell you have cancer. Oh, it's got to be anal cancer. It's got to be colon or rectal cancer. Has to be. So go get a colonoscopy today. And I'll tell you, listen to this, okay? The rate of anal cancer in the United States is 0.02%. It's extremely rare, less than 1%, okay, of the population gets diagnosed with it. And so if you're getting bleeding, is 0.02% chance a really high chance? The answer is no. So the odds of having it be anal cancer, very, very unlikely. So let's put that to rest. What about colon and rectal cancer? What are the odds of that? For men and women in the United States, it's about 4%. Okay, would you bet on, something that's 4% chance of rain? Would you pretty much like say, oh, we're not going to the beach today, only a 4% chance of rain? No, it's not very common. So again, the odds of a bleeding episode, probably not colon and rectal cancer. What increases your chances of it being one of these diagnoses, okay, is the symptoms you're having, the story that you're having. Are you having belly pain with it? Have you had changes in your bowel habits? Do you have a family history of colon or anal cancer? These are the kind of things where, yeah, you probably want to see a professional now, okay, because things are starting to be a little bit more where you want to actually get checked out. But if that's not you, then let's keep going, shall we, okay? Number 2 is to evaluate why the heck the blood showed up in the first place. Many times people will say it's either a fissure or hemorrhoids. Well, that's not the only things, but those are definitely the most common by far. And so was your poop super hard? Okay, did it come out like a bunch of rabbit pellets? Okay, was it super huge and stretched out your butthole and you had it strained to your eyeballs popped out of your head? Yeah. What if you had you just lifted a ton of weights and then you're just having a poop right now, or you were holding your poop for an hour and then things just didn't feel right on the toilet? Maybe that's the reason why your hemorrhoids or the inside of your anus got pissed off. But really, there's a bunch of things like, do you poop frequently? Like, are you having diarrhea and you went 10 times today? That's probably a reason, very likely, why you're having bleeding, okay? And so we're going to talk a little bit more in depth, but a poop texture and the size and what you're pooping, what's coming out of your bottom end is extremely important because that makes physical contact with your anus. Doesn't that make sense? So if you can make that connection, or if you see that there might be something you can do better about, like maybe throwing your phone away instead of sitting on the toilet for 30 minutes to an hour, that might be something to start out with to see if things get better, right? So when you're trying to fix your stool softening, fiber is a very common one, but watch out for taking too much fiber, okay? But fiber in general is a very good supplement. Watch my videos on fiber to know how much is too much, right? Stool softeners can be helpful too because Colace or Docusate, as it's called, and also Miralax are ones that are safe to take for the long term. I'm talking about every day for the rest of your life. And yes, there's studies that came out that said Colace is useless. I call BS on that study. It's an incomplete study, okay? Because I do not blindly take people off that medication or write that off into the garbage can just because one study said so. Why? Because every patient is different, and that study does not account for all the factors and the reasons why people need Colace or why it's been helping them, okay? So don't throw Colace into the trash and call it poo-poo just yet. The next thing is, many people, when they're talking about their diet, they want to completely transform it. They're reading online that, oh, I should have not been eating In and Out 6 times a day. I shouldn't be eating the fried chicken or steak, 36 ounce 4 times a day. I should be eating tons of fiber, tons of vegetables, and turn up my fiber and all this and that, and all the other stuff that you read on the internet. And the reason why I'm not a fan of completely flipping it around is because your anus wants routine. The more it sees the usual things every day, the more it's happy with you, because it's adjusted and it can make the adjustments and give you consistent results in the toilet. So the other thing here is the routine, right? If you're switching your habits, let's say you switched it to some really crazy, clean, awesome diet that you read online, and you finally get the soft poops that your butt has been craving its entire life. And you're saying, wow, I'm doing great. The blood disappeared, the pain disappeared, and great, my life is good again. Except, I hate the food I'm eating. It bores me to death, and it's just, I can't eat what my friends are eating. When holidays, I can't eat what everybody else is eating. I'm going to go back to eating what I used to do because I'm doing great. But what does your butt do? It starts to hate the consistency of the poop that you used to have. So again, it's better to take what you've got already and what you normally eat and what you feel is healthy, and keep that consistent for the long term. Stool soften. Maybe you need to thicken up your stools, etc., etc. This requires a conversation with a professional if you're not sure how to modify it, right? Okay. Instead of eating for diet, maybe you want to do a fast. And many people do that, because they don't want to poop as much. They find that eating less or no food at all, just to decrease the amount of poop they make, or the number of times they have to poop go down. And yeah, that could be an option. Make sure that you're hydrated and see if that helps. Maybe shrinking down your calories. Maybe eat the half of the meals that you normally would eat. Maybe that's going to benefit you, okay? But I certainly understand why you'd want to do that. The next thing is relaxation is very important, because when your bottom end is bleeding or flared up, that means there's inflammation inside your anus, and when you squeeze those muscles, your anal muscles around the hemorrhoids, which are inside the grips of my hands, okay, it's going to make things swell in there. Because especially if you have hemorrhoids on the outside of your anus, squeezing on the muscles and on the hemorrhoids here is going to make these hemorrhoids swell even more on the outside. So the blood will fill the hemorrhoids on the external aspect, but then it's difficult for them to send the blood back, which is really where that relief comes from. So you want to relax those muscles. You want to also relax it so it doesn't squeeze on the cuts or the fissures. That can be incredibly irritating too. Okay, so sitz baths, laying down and just lie down on your bed. Maybe lying down on your side or stomach might be helpful. Deep breathing can definitely be the secret to relaxing those anal muscles, okay? The next thing, of course, is stop by the grocery store or the Amazon shopping list and get some creams like Preparation H with lidocaine. Lidocaine is the numbing cream which can provide some relief, okay? And you can put this on 4 to 6 times a day, as much as you need to, so that you can try and numb some of the sensation down there. And this is another one where Pranicura can be very helpful too, okay? Because Pranicura has a zinc-based ointment which sticks to the skin surface. And when you've got that protection layer on top of it, then anything like debris like poop gets on there. It will protect you. If you're moving around, you're walking around a bit, you're sitting down, Pranicura will also be there to protect you. The menthol sensation can also protect you and soothe you as well. Protect your mind, really, from going insane. But all the other natural ingredients inside can also help reduce inflammation and also allow things to heal faster down there as well and get you over your flare, okay? Another suggestion is to avoid intense activity, I'd say, for a week, especially if you have swelling, okay? If you don't really feel any difference, I'd say just kind of don't go lift a whole bunch of weights on the squat rack. Maybe you set a few days, take a day off, maybe work on some other parts of your body and isolate. But try not to do too much, because those hemorrhoids, they fill with blood when you're using your core, you're holding your breath, you're exerting yourself. And that's where the hemorrhoids can kind of get irritated and a little bit mad at you for doing that, okay? Next thing is that you want to think about the future. We often don't do that, especially when the flare goes away so quick. Like, let's say it's 1 or 2 days of bleeding and you're just like, well, it disappeared. You didn't even really notice. You totally forgot about it because your anus is so blessed and with healing powers that you didn't have to really think about it. So what about the future, though? You want to pay attention to what happened, because if you keep having these episodes over and over again, even once a month, those hemorrhoids are going to keep growing little by little by little. So I always say, if you can get your soft poops 95% of the time, then I think that's acceptable for a lifetime. All right, you can't make things perfect. You can't have that perfect poop every day. But if you're producing that routine that could prevent those accidents and then therefore those flares, you are doing your hemorrhoids a huge favor. Because remember, once the flare happened, it's too late. The damage has already been done. The key is to never be in the bleeding situation in the first place. Okay, let's keep going here with this. So normally, a normal hemorrhoid flare, the bleeding should last maybe about 3 to 5, 7 days, so about a week, right? But you should notice that the bleeding gets less and less, little by little each day, okay? If the bleeding stops way before 7 days, oh, perfection. Happy for you. But if it lasts for about 7 days, then make sure there's that downtrend going on, okay? If the bleeding stays the same, like day 1 you're bleeding and day 7 you're still bleeding exactly the same, it's really time to start looking for a physician to figure out what is happening here. Is there some banding that needs to be done? Is there other procedure, maybe an injection that needs to be done? Or is there some other reason for your bleeding that is otherwise not from the common things like a fissure or a hemorrhoid? So that's where I would say, don't freak out. You don't need to go see a doctor day 1 necessarily, but if you want to try some things, I'd say about a week, see where things head at that point, okay? And the last thing is, if you are ever concerned at any point, even day 1, you're just like, this is too much for me. I don't want to just sit here and be waiting. I'm not a doctor. I don't know exactly. I want to make sure. I want to have somebody look at it and see it and tell me confidently, it is this problem. This is what you should do, or you shouldn't worry about it. Be educated on that, right? Who better than a licensed professional, a specialist like myself, to tell you and look in there and be like, hey, you're doing great. Let's talk about what are some strategies to help you in the future. And that's the kind of thing at any point, that's what you need, either reassurance, or you need a diagnosis. Anytime, please contact a physician. A specialist like myself is, in my opinion, I'm biased, but I think that because we do surgery, we actually look there, we know what we're looking at and how to solve from A to Z. That would be my choice for you, a proctologist or colon and rectal surgeon. Okay, so I hope that this video gives you a broad overview of bleeding from the bottom end, the minor cases, okay? A little dripping here and there, blood and tissue paper. And I hope this can be a guide for you to hopefully bring some clarity, right? This video, I don't want to scare people. And look, the statistics aren't even justified to make you scared, okay? If it was like if you have bleeding, your chances of cancer are 50%. Yeah, that would wake people up for sure. It would say, oh man, that's scary. But we're talking about less than 1% for anal cancer and 4% for colon and rectal cancer, okay? What are the odds? Yeah, not very good that this bleeding episode is going to be cancer. Far, far more common as fissures or hemorrhoids. So is it okay to try and see what can help it and make it work? Yeah, in my opinion, yes. That's the very reasonable answer. But always keep that specialist or your doctor in your back pocket so that if you feel you need more help, you can get that. And so I hope that this video is helpful. Again, Pranicura can certainly be used when you have bleeding from your bottom, because it very much means that there's some inflammation or some injury going on in your anus. And if I open this up for you, you're going to see my supply where it's got that cream there. And I hope you can see it, but just take a little bit of this cream and just put it on the outside. And you don't need to rub it in. Just close your butt cheeks and it's going to get everywhere that it needs to. Pranicura.com is the only place you get, and they ship worldwide. I'm so thankful for them that they offer that service so that we can all take part in the benefits. Well, thank you so much for being here. And wow, 20,000, here we come. You take care. Bye-bye.